G'day and welcome to Oly35mm user-based, quasi-empirical, cheap and cheerful videos on Olympus Zuiko branded film lenses on digital mirrorless sensors. And in this case it will be the Micro Four Thirds of an E-M5 MkII in the Olympus brand, a APS-C sensor which is the Sony NEX-F3, and the full frame sensor on the Sony A7. I will not be doing any other iterations of the mirrorless cameras in testing, but hopefully this will give you a good idea of what these lenses are like on at least those three sensors. Anyway, so the very first lens that I would like to share with you today is the nifty 50, probably the most prolific of all of the Zuiko lenses, at least interchangeable lenses anyway, is the 50mm f1.8. This is one of three 50mm that they brought out. They also brought out an f1.4 and a 1.2 to replace the 55mm f1.2 that came out in the beginning of the series run. And there's also actually another one probably worth mentioning, the 40mm f2 pancake, and there were two 50mm macro lenses as well, the f2.0 and the f3.5. I'm lucky enough to own a couple of those lenses that I just mentioned, and hopefully if I get time this year I'll include a couple of those in the reviews. But this fella here, the most prolific of the lot, I don't know how many they made, but they came out as a kit lens with all of the consumer models, with the exception of the OM2000, and came out sometimes with the professional models as well. Let's find out a little bit about this. Well, it came in two iterations. It came in the F Zuiko, so it actually had an F hyphen on there. The F Zuiko 50mm f1.8, and then sometime in the late 70s, early 80s, it changed over to this particular model, which was the Zuiko Auto S, which was 6 elements in 4 groups. The old one was 6 elements in 5 groups, if I haven't already just said that. And the difference is there's 5 grams difference in the weight. This is 5 grams lighter than the old one, and it is 1mm at 32mm long from the mount through to the filter, 1mm long than the old one. Excuse me. So, but bar that, they're pretty much the same image quality. I don't know, I've never used one of the old ones, but I've used about 4 of the new ones, and I've been very happy with them. Okay, they both have an aperture range that runs from 1.8 through to f16 and in single clicks. Now, for videographers out there, you can actually take this front ring off, and you can actually get to this aperture ring, and you can actually take out the little ball bearing that actually does the clicks, and you can actually make it clickless if you wish. I would suggest though you need to be clever at what you do, or give it to your favorite camera technician to do it instead. Also, for the videographers, just to let you know, there's about 180 degree turn between the minimum focusing distance of 45 centimeters or 18 inches through to infinity. The lens grows probably about 5mm or so in length, I suppose, and as you notice, the front ring does not turn, so any filters in the 49mm filter ring will not be a problem if you have graduated filters that are half graduated or whatever. The excuse me, I should have also told you about the I'll shut the iris diaphragm down a bit. There's a 6-bladed iris diaphragm, which gives you quite nice bokeh as well. The focusing ring is, to jump between various parts of this lens, the focusing ring is noted in both feet and meters, if you will, and it also has the depth of field marks there as well for the various different apertures. And we have excuse me, the lens mount unlock button, and also the depth of field preview button as well. on the lens. So it's fairly simple lens. Now, it's what's it like? It's a very nice little lens to use. Everything feels good when you use it. This one actually has a slightly tight focusing ring, but I have used ones that are more fluid than this. It has nice image quality. Like I said, I don't know what the old one's like, but then the new one has nice image quality from f4 through to f8 at the full frame sensor. F11 and 16 is alright, as is f2.8 sort of. And 1.8 is not really all that good, especially towards the corners. Center, probably f4, f5.6 are probably the sharpest, and f11 and 16 are usable, as is f2.8 is, yeah, alright, I suppose, on a full frame sensor. Now, of course, with the smaller sensors that use more towards the center, f2.8 is actually not bad at all. It's really only 1.8 that's a bit of a dead loss. Not very sharp in the corners, and not very sharp in the center at f1.8. There's also a reasonable amount of chromatic aberration in the contrasty areas, which is a little bit disappointing, especially down towards f1.8, where it almost looks ghosty. Certainly at the edges anyway. I'll put a couple of photographs or a couple of images at the back of this video to give you an idea of what it's like. But from f4 through to f8, it's a lovely little lens, reasonably contrasty, reasonably sharp, and gives you a very nice look. In fact, all of the Zuikos, and this is one of the reasons why I love them, all of the Zuikos give you a very interesting filmatic, if that's a word, film look about them. It's hard to describe. You really need to actually see it to actually get the feeling of what it looks like. But it's very, very pleasant, at least to my eye anyway. So there it is, the nifty 50, the 50mm f1.8. You should be able to pick them up for under 100 Australian dollars. That's about 70 to 80 American dollars in 2016 terms. Anything over that, you're looking pretty much for a mint version of this. And if you can hear a truck on the outside, that's the garbage truck picking up my my rubbish. So sorry about the sound there. So anyway, the nifty 50, that's your lot for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.